look, gritty, good team win, tough. Defensively, man, we battled with, especially with some short fields. You know, we met Tuesday as a staff, and it wasn't a matter of if, it was when they were going to run a fake punt. You know, when you're struggling as a team like this, we had it on the keys to victory, and so credit them, they executed it. Then they get a kick, you know, so our defense defended, I'd say, a lot of minus situations where, and they handled it well. Offensively, we struggled in the first half. We got a lot of cover zero, a lot of blitz, a lot of pressure, a lot more than we expected, and which made it hard to run the ball, obviously, with some of those looks. So the second half, though, we battled back. I think we were one of something third down in the first half, and then the second half, we just had to we had to beat the pressure, and you know, a year ago we don't win that game, and so you know, it wasn't our best, but it was good enough, and we're on to the next one. So we'll have a lot to clean up, but it was good to handle these guys for a second time. Any questions? They aren't. I think I said this to them. You know, the elite teams in 17 regular season games will be really ready for 13 or 14 of those games. And then the ones that are not, they still find a way to win. And they may lose a few, but they find a way still. And I said to them today that, you know, our team a year ago doesn't win this game, but this team did. And you built some grit. We won the turnover battle again. You know, we were the better team today, and we didn't always play like it, but we'll get those things cleaned up.
Coach, why last year?
One at a time.
Why last year does this team not win, but this year?
I'm just talking about this team. I'm not talking about last year.
Well,
This team's entirely different.
Why are you confident in this team winning?
I'm just talking about what I see with the mental toughness, the grit, the fortitude, how they work. This is an entirely different team from a year ago, and then that's no discredit to the last year's team. Just is what it is.
What were some of the keys to getting the pass rush going in the second half?
I think one of the goals, one of the keys. Look, Gardner is tough when he gets out of the pocket, and so every time he got out of the pocket, I'm screaming at Vance and every defensive coach. You know, we want to cage rush him, and when we can keep him there. You know, but turnovers came, and those really proved to be the difference, and they will in most games. But I thought we handled the run game. You know, they give you some eye candy, motion stuff. We missed a few relative with coverage assignments. 89, 98, 19. And those are really good players. But we didn't hear from them a lot.
You had Bo last week talked about finding answers. And I guess when they were getting you with the pressure early, what does it say about his growth and your growth? Like, as a team
Yeah, the problem with the pressure early for me as a play caller is not necessarily the pass. It's what it's doing to our ability, like to run. I call an RPO, it's a PO, it's a pass. You know, in other words, it's I don't, and we've got to be better with our plan, but I don't like when they can dictate, you know, relative to what we do. And I probably should have gotten in some heavier personnel groupings, but we really felt we had some matchup advantages, and we took advantage of them. Cortland played tremendous. We had other opportunities, but and credit Vegas. They came out and had some fire about them, but they lost.
You talked earlier in training camp about the size you like from your receivers. When you're getting those zero looks, you have guys like Courtland, who you mentioned.
Yeah. They're healthier longer. They're built for this game, but that doesn't mean we're opposed to it a smaller receiver. The smaller receivers have to walk on water, though. And then we're excited about them. All of those guys were in on the action today. And look, we'll look at the film and clean up some things. Well, you learn every week we play. You learn a little bit more. Fair question. How are we going to respond? Coming here. I thought we had a good week of practice. I thought Friday got a little, and so, yeah, you learn a little bit more. Shoot, you've got a number of different matchups. Pat had them. You got to disrupt him at the line if you can. They do such a good job of moving him. It's hard, it's hard to say he's always going to be here. He's a true joker tight end. And those are, listen, when you have them, there's nothing better because it involves interior people, sometimes not exterior people.
You mentioned Cortland today. How does Bo keep stacking good things on the floor? How big is court to help you?
Yeah, look, I think that ultimately the consistency with not only Cortland, but these other players and where they're going to be and how they're going to get there and what he's seeing and feeling, that's important.
Can you offer health updates on Zach?
No, I'm not going to offer. No.
Since the end of the Kansas City game, Will is 13 of 13 in kicks, 6 of 6 in field goals. Can you talk about the adjustment you made there and just Will hanging,
Listen, he's been kicking well. His Kansas City kick got blocked, but it was a good kick. That was on us as coaches. That wasn't on any individual player. Will's doing well. He's got a live leg. He was solid today. His body of work has been really good.
Coach, you swept the team in the division. How important is that? You talked about the importance of being over 500 in the division. How important is that?
Yeah, listen. When you go someplace and people talk about, well, they haven't in a while, they haven't done it, and so you have to, even though a lot of these players weren't here, you exercise these demons. Like hadn't beaten the Raiders, I don't know how long, doesn't matter. We beat them twice this year. All right, hadn't beaten, we're focused on the next game. Obviously, the division games matter, and listen, the appreciation for beating the Raiders. I mean, I listen, at a young age, was fortunate to interview with Al Davis 3 weekends for the head coaching job and bought a black suit and a silver tie. And but if Jerry Jones is the last person you see, you're probably staying. And I ended up staying in 2003. But this Paul Kelly, who was with us, picked me up at the airport in Oakland. And it's a storied franchise just like we are, and that's what makes this division unique, and I'm getting to appreciate that.
Bo, where in the growth process is that he can, now he's starting to take a game where maybe you're getting dictated to earlier and be able to turn that?
It's all learning. I mean, it's you can only do so much in the simulator, and then all of a sudden, all right, this is what happened today, and both of us, all right, man, we needed to be better in relative to this. They had a couple corners out, and so, we go from expecting maybe a lot of zone coverage to here comes zero pressure, and so we made some plays though in the second half with it, and we made enough plays. I felt, the first play of the game was zero, then play 3 was zero, and then I thought, all right. And I've worked with Rob Ryan, and and so, and then after about the 6th snap of zero in the game, your head drops down to all the stuff that, can handle that and attack it. And even the big play I thought was Mims's 3rd down in the backfield. He was in the pistols, a quick count, and we got pressure. And he dumped it to Mims, and there was no one on him. That was a really big play in the game. I think it was 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7. and that later led to Sutton's touchdown. And so it's not a game where you're going to throw for 72%. You've just got to hit some big plays, and we made enough of them. Well, I think, look, anytime you lose one of your top corners, it changes things. We still had our Bowers plan that involved Pat and some doubles, but look, Levi came in and it was the next man up, and unfortunately, it wasn't really serious with Riley. You know, it's an MCL that I'm not gonna give any. We'll see how next week was. There was some thought that maybe he could go back in, so we'll see where it's at. Yeah, it wasn't going to be. That's right, because it's hard if you're a corner. Well, the first thing is if Pat ends up inside right away, it's a man tell, and so there were calls. Credit Vance and his staff for doing a good job of that. You know, this guy's had a lot of catches. I don't know how many he had today, 4, but there weren't a lot of yards. And shoot, the first catch he had against us in Denver. So that was good.